Chapter 65. You can't be so selfish. Bang! Simon pulled open the courtyard gate and glanced outside. There stood Oscar and his burly wife. Without a word, they tried to walk right in. Simon pressed his hand against the gate, leaning against the door frame, blocking their way. His expression was cold as he asked, "What's the matter?" Ever since Oscar had backed out of joining the militia last time, Simon had felt a bit disdainful towards him. However, he kept these feelings to himself. After all, their houses were close to each other, and it would be awkward if they had a falling out. But even so, Simon didn't want much to do with them. On top of that, it was his father's 7-day memorial, so his mood was already pretty foul, making his tone even harsher. Seeing that Simon had no intention of inviting them in, Oscar and his wife's faces soured, but they quickly put on forced smiles. "Simon, we're so sorry we couldn't help much with your father's hurried funeral. We felt so bad about it. So, we came specifically to offer incense and burn some joss paper for him." Simon gave the couple a once-over and replied stiffly, "No need. We've already dismantled the mourning hall. Today's his 7-day memorial, and it's enough that his son is burning incense for him." Simon didn't believe for a second that Oscar and his wife came out in the cold just to offer incense. His father had been swindled by them numerous times when shopping at Oscar's store. "Look, we're already here, so just let us in." Oscar tried to squeeze through, but stopped when his wife gave him a nudge. He stood there, looking dumbly at her. "Brother Simon, since it's inconvenient today, we won't come in," Oscar's wife said with a smile. "Actually, we came for another reason too." "Heh." Simon showed a knowing smile and responded, "What is it? Speak up." "It's like this. You guys were forming a militia to fight those food-stealing bastards a few days ago, right? We want to know, did the fight happen? How did it turn out?" Oscar's wife rubbed her hands together and grinned. "So, that's why you're here." Simon's eyes showed a hint of disdain as he looked at Oscar. Then, pretending to be confused, he said, "I remember you were part of the militia, Oscar. You didn't join us that day? You should know the outcome." Oscar's face turned bright red. No matter how thick-skinned he was, Simon's unfiltered sarcasm left him at a loss, standing there awkwardly. "Well, I was all ready that morning, but then my stomach acted up. It was so bad I couldn't get out of bed." Oscar quickly composed himself, finding an excuse he had prepared to cover his cowardice. "Oh, I see." Simon feigned realization, smiling. "I thought you were one of us risking our lives that day." "Ashamed. Ashamed." Oscar's face flushed red and black. Smack. Oscar's wife slapped his arm, prompting him to say, "Brother, just tell me the truth. What happened to those bandits?" Simon, losing interest in mocking Oscar, paused before replying, "Those bandits won't be coming back. They're dead." Oscar's eyes lit up. Simon didn't answer directly but said, "You don't need to know the details. Just know they won't trouble you again." With that, Simon moved to close the gate. But Oscar suddenly grabbed Simon's wrist, bracing his shoulder against the door. "Wait, how can I not know? I need to be sure they're dead to reclaim my stuff?" Simon was stunned for a moment before asking, "Your stuff? What stuff?" "My food and money they stole." Oscar grinned broadly. "Brother Simon, I know you wiped out those bandits and brought back our stolen goods. You can't be so selfish, keeping everything for yourself. Give us back our share." Simon laughed in anger. He knew Oscar and his wife were shameless, but hadn't realized just how brazen they were. "You didn't dare to fight, but now you're eager for the spoils. I've never seen such a despicable person." Simon roared, pointing at them, "Get lost. As far as you can." Oscar and his wife's faces changed. Since Simon had started cursing, there was no need to pretend anymore. They decided to tear off the facade. "Simon, I'm telling you, the bandits stole our stuff. If you've recovered it, some of it must be ours. It belongs to us, and you can't keep it all." Oscar's wife, glaring fiercely, moved to kick the door. "Give us back our food. If the bandits stole your stuff, go ask the bandits for it. Why come to me?" Simon sneered, "I didn't steal your things." "Don't be stupid. You killed the bandits. Who else should we ask but you? Oscar, also glaring, reached into his coat for the rolling pin. Simon frowned. He didn't want a conflict at home, especially with his wife and child present. Listen, the bandits are dead, but I didn't recover your things. Believe it or not, I have nothing more to say. If you want your stuff, find the bandits. Simon pushed Oscar away and moved to shut the door. At that moment, Simon's wife came out holding their son, who happened to be eating a piece of chocolate. Darling, lower your voices. You're scaring the child. Simon turned to see his wife, his son holding a piece of chocolate. His scalp prickled with alarm. That chocolate came from the loot, and Oscar's store was the only place that sold such unwrapped chocolates, rewrapped by his wife to look like high-end chocolates. That's our snack, Oscar's wife shrieked, pulling out her knife and waving it around. You did take the loot. Give us our stuff. Oscar, emboldened, pushed Simon aside and charged in with his rolling pin. What are you doing? Damn you! Simon staggered back, regaining his footing just in time to see Oscar and his wife, like crazed robbers, rushing into his home. His wife, stunned, stood in their way. Don't block the way. Oscar's wife swung her knife wildly, slashing Simon's wife across the forehead, blood gushing from the wound. Ah! Her scream pierced the sky. Mommy! What's wrong? I'm scared. Their son cried, seeing his mother bleeding. Simon, seeing this, felt a surge of rage about to explode within him. He grabbed a nearby fire axe and swung it at Oscar's wife's back. You worms! Bullies! I'll kill you both.